Are you interested in making 2021 your breakout year? If you're selling on Amazon and you've ever wondered how to maximize your profits, or if you've ever looked for a template for increasing your revenue, look no further. You're in the right place. My name is Mark Gonsalves, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to challenge you to have an open mind, to watch, to listen, and discover how you can increase your profits 112% in less than 12 months. That's right. You heard me right. It's absolutely possible for you to grow your profits 100 or even 200% or more just by applying what you will learn in this video. And when you hear me say that, I know what some of you may be thinking. Really, Mark? 100 to 200% in a year? That's a pretty big claim. So I challenge you to prove me wrong, because the following presentation will help you not only make more profit, but keep more of what you make in your business. So let's get started. First of all, what makes this presentation different? Who am I? And why should you watch and listen to what I have to share? Why is it worth the next few minutes for you to grab something to write with and write on and take a few notes? Well, for starters, there's no courses or programs being offered. I'm not going to spend our valuable time trying to convince you to hire me or my company to be your business consultant or coach. I'm going to assume that you already are successfully selling on Amazon. And I want you to know up front, I respect and value your time. And I promise I'm not going to waste it. My sole purpose is to lay out a time-tested and proven method for you to grow, scale, and leverage your Amazon business by 100% or more by doing what you already do. Oh yeah, you can relax. There's nothing for sale. In fact, feel free to take the information, apply it, grow your business, make more money, and pay it forward. The information I'm going to deliver is unlike anything you've ever heard before. So, what will you learn and discover in this presentation? We will cover how to increase and grow your profits using growth capital, and why bank loans and other alternative funding solutions may do more harm than good. You will also learn how you can grow and scale your Amazon business 100% or even higher in less than a year using growth capital. So listen, I appreciate that for most of you, this is totally new information. It's been released to a select number of Amazon sellers, and the good news is it's being made available for you to use and make more money in your business today. So I promise I'll be happy to share all my contact information at the end and make myself and my team available to answer any questions you may have. Sound good so far? Great. So, who am I and why should you care? And frankly, what's in it for you and your business? As I said at the open, my name's Mark Gonsalves, and that's me and my wife, the love of my life. We live just outside New York City. As for my background, I had the opportunity to serve our country on active duty with the U.S. Army Special Forces and some of the finest soldiers. And for all of you out there who have served or are serving in our armed forces, including all the first responders, law enforcement, I want to thank you for your service and Godspeed. You know, I've been blessed for over 30 years as a direct investor in a number of businesses across several different industries, and I'm currently an advisor on the board of an e-commerce business. I'm also one of the co-founders of AccrueMe. And for those of you who don't know, AccrueMe has developed a proprietary technology to help Amazon sellers rapidly grow. Currently, we're actively looking to invest an additional $100 million in Amazon sellers in 2021. So you may be asking, why am I sharing this information? Well, the simple answer is I feel duty bound to help as many Amazon sellers be successful in the next 12 to 24 months. And if ever there is a time where that opportunity for sellers on Amazon is ripe to gain an edge and catapult success, it's now. It's in 2021. Thomas Edison once said, "Good fortune is what happens when opportunity meets with planning." I'm sharing this information because there are millions of Amazon sellers in North America that are totally unaware that right now is the best time to take advantage of growth capital to scale their Amazon business. So let's dive in. How is it possible to increase our profits 112% in less than a year? It almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? All I can say is watch and listen, because as you will learn in just a few minutes, that is the kind of growth that AccrueMe clients experience when they're able to double their capital, double their profit, and have the flexibility of paying no interest and aren't required to make monthly payments. You see, at AccrueMe, you can grow now and pay later. Imagine being able to double your capital, double your profit year after year without required monthly payments and not incurring interest. So now that I have your undivided attention, let's discuss what you need in order to grow and scale your Amazon business 100% or more year after year after year. So, in order to grow your profit 100% year over year, let's agree you have to have, first and foremost, a profitable Amazon business. Pretty simple. It means that you've demonstrated month after month that you know how to sell products profitably on Amazon. You've cracked the code. You figured out how to source products and sell at a profit. That makes sense. However, in order to grow 100% or more year after year, you also have to have clear opportunities to grow. And you may be asking, what does that mean? Well, it's simple. It means that if you had more money, you would know exactly where you would invest it. I mean, clear opportunities mean you understand specifically which products in what quantities you could sell on Amazon to generate the best ROI. And generating the best and highest return on investment, you would be able to take advantage of those product opportunities if you had the right type of capital to act. Listen, I get it. We all agree it takes money to make money. We all recognize that fact. So that's why the next critical piece to growing 100% or more is the need to raise capital. You see, when you have a profitable business and you know exactly where you would put the money to grow, the obvious next step is the right type of capital. Ideally, you look for business-friendly or smart long-term capital. That's going to allow you to grow exponentially and not stunt your growth. Okay, what else? Well, you have to keep reinvesting in order to achieve 100% plus profit growth every year. This is true in any business. It's critically important in Amazon. You must be willing to reinvest your money into the business. If you drain all of your available cash flow, it's nearly impossible to grow 100% or more. And it goes without saying that you have to work hard. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this video and you're profitably selling on Amazon, you may have already wondered what your business could become if you could double or triple the capital you have, and in turn, double and triple your profit. I don't know. Maybe before today, you've looked at raising capital. Maybe you already know the difference between getting a loan or a cash advance and the related downside risk versus using growth capital, which has tremendous upside and benefits to you as an Amazon seller. I'm going to assume most of you already understand that it takes hard work to grow in this business. Nothing's done for you. You also realize that there's major opportunity to win financially with Amazon if you do put in the effort. So let's all agree that if you follow all of those steps, you will be able to grow and grow quickly. And rather than talk theory or hypotheticals, I'm going to walk you through an actual case study from one of our current AccrueMe clients. I'm going to show you exactly how you can increase your Amazon profits by 100% or more in less than a year by showcasing one of our current business owners, Gary and Joy. And I think the best way for you to appreciate the power of their exponential growth is showing you the before and after picture, right? Sharing exactly step by step what and how they took their business from where they were in 2018 to the present, and how you can do the same. So before Gary and Joy started with AccrueMe, they already had a profitable business. They had started selling in 2018, selling on Amazon. They were profitable. They were using FBA, the platform, Fulfillment by Amazon. They started small, but after 12 months, they understood they could grow quickly. They saw the potential. They were smart to diversify across several categories and products. So let's look at Gary and Joy in 2018, what I like to call the before picture, okay? So before they met AccrueMe, 2018, Gary and Joy had invested about $25,000 of their own capital into an Amazon business. And after a year of working hard in 2018, they had a profitable Amazon business. We're selling $90,000 in revenue, and their net profit after expenses and fees was about $9,000. So they proved they could sell. But they also knew they could do so much more if they just had more capital. So they met the first two steps, and now they were looking for outside capital. They did their research. They saw all the alternative funding solutions in this space. They ran the numbers, and guess what? They realized that they truly wanted to grow. And if they went with one of those Amazon loans or cash advance solutions, all they would be doing is draining their monthly cash flow instead of growing, which led them to find a better solution, a business-friendly long-term provider of growth capital, AccrueMe. You see, Gary and Joy needed to work with someone that was not only business-friendly and understood Amazon, but they preferred to use growth capital because they discovered all the other funding solutions, banks, short-term loans, credit cards, inventory financing, factoring, they all required monthly and weekly payments. They all charged interest. Whether their business was making a profit or not, they didn't care. You see, Gary and Joy were attracted to use growth capital with AccrueMe because at AccrueMe, we only take a temporary share of the profit. There were no required monthly payments, so Gary and Joy could keep reinvesting in the business. You see, Gary and Joy already had revenue and profit. They also had a clear opportunity to grow and scale. They knew that if they bought more products and invested in more products, they'd be able to grow and profit and grow their profit and scale their business. You see, they decided to take smart long-term capital that matched their goals, which was long-term, not based on short-term solutions. So they matched their growth plans with their capital plans. They kept reinvesting their capital in the business. They worked really hard, and as a result, they grew really quickly. So in March 2019, Gary and Joy met with AccrueMe. We decided to double their capital. So they had $25,000. We matched that with an additional $25,000, which they immediately began using to grow and scale. They began to take advantage of more profitable opportunities on Amazon. So let's see how that worked out. So here are the results in 2019, the beginning after picture. A year later, after we doubled their capital and gave them another $25,000 to grow their business, they went from $90,000 in revenue in 2018 to almost $400,000 in revenue. They increased their profit from $9,000 to over $48,000 in the business. And even after calculating AccrueMe's profit share, Gary and Joy still brought home $40,000 in profit. So they went from $9,000 to $40,000 in less than a year. The reason they were able to do that was because they worked hard. They had a great business, and they had capital that was business friendly and didn't require any payments and allowed them to grow. So just to be clear, Gary and Joy's huge advantage to scaling their business was they didn't make any payments to AccrueMe for 18 months, which allowed them to grow very quickly. So again, if you're taking notes, here are Gary and Joy's numbers. They increased their revenue by 333% from 2018 to 2019. They increased their profit by 438%. and they increased their total seller profit, their bottom line, in less than a year by 349%. Those are enormous numbers. And in 2020, a year where many businesses were suffering from the shock of the pandemic, Gary and Joy were reaching new highs. They were still working with AccrueMe, and they achieved even more incredible growth. Check out these numbers. Talk about an after picture. In 2020, just shy of $700,000 in total revenue with $132,000 in total profit. And Gary and Joy brought home a handsome $103,000 in profit in just 1 year. I want you all to think about those numbers, especially considering where they were in 2019. You see, they enjoyed exponential growth, increasing revenue 75% and 172% overall profit growth. And most importantly to you on this webinar, and Gary and Joy, was the amount they brought home, which increased 154% to $103,000, which is pretty amazing. And it brings up a question. When we started a few minutes ago, I promised I would show you how to increase your profit 112% or more. And I'm curious, how many of you just sat back and said, yeah, right, sure you are. Well, Gary and Joy did a lot better than 112%. They're not special. And by the way, they're not the only Amazon businesses that are enjoying and achieving the results of what is possible with AccrueMe's growth capital. And now you can too. So here's a chart that shows you the rapid growth they experienced in 2 years. And I want to zoom in on each year so you can appreciate and get a visual on what looks like a hockey stick when you plot it on a graph. Check it out. 2018, before they met AccrueMe, the before picture. 2019, which represents less than a year. Remember, they only started with AccrueMe in March. And then the after picture, continuing the growth in 2020. That's really hockey stick growth. And here are the facts. They had a great business, and they had AccrueMe capital, which is why they were able to grow their seller profit 349% and 154% year after. Now, this is a business. And look at how much their profit increased from $9,000 in 2018 to $40,000 in 2019 and $103,000 in 2020. You know, let me ask all of you, where do you think their profit will be this year in 2021? 200,000? Probably more. Listen, by now you can start to see that when you work with AccrueMe, it's possible to increase your profits faster than you would with any other funding source. As I told you when we started this presentation, the information I was sharing would be new for most of you. And you may be wondering how you can get started like Gary and Joy. And I promise to give you a no risk, no obligation chance to discover how you can take advantage of AccrueMe's latest and greatest opportunity for selected Amazon sellers. I want to share an important point about Gary and Joy's cash flow. Keep in mind, Gary and Joy, they have personal living expenses like many of you. They were doing this Amazon business full time and still are, meaning they were withdrawing their profits throughout the 18 months that we just showed you. Specifically, they took out over $114,000 for the first 18 months and didn't make one single payment to AccrueMe. So we invested in March 2019, and they didn't pay us a dime until September 2020. And meanwhile, they were taking money out of the business, yet didn't pay us anything for over a year and a half. I don't know about you, but I know my bank or credit card hasn't made that offer to me yet. Check out the portal where we track distributions and payments. Now, so remember, one of the unique benefits to using AccrueMe is that there are no required monthly payments and no interest, which means that we would rather have our capital working in your business to make us all more profit. You can pay down our capital and accrue profits when it's right for you and the business. Okay, so how do they repay AccrueMe? AccrueMe started with an initial $25,000 of capital in 2019. And even though we represented 50% of the capital, we only made $8,000 in profit. Gary and Joy made $40,000. We elected to accrue our profits and reinvest, hence the name AccrueMe. That amount was added to what we invested in 2020. We made $29,000 in profit, and Gary and Joy made $103,000. And they didn't want to pay and drain their cash flow. And so they let it accrue. And finally, they started making payments when they were flush with cash. And they started making payments 18 months after the initial investment. And by then, our total capital invested was $62,000. So this is a screenshot from the AccrueMe portal. And I want to zoom in so you can see this. You can see the yellow highlight. It shows the first payment that Gary and Joy made was 18 months later on September 10th, 2020 for $3,000. Think about it. What other investor or lender is ever going to let you not make a payment for 18 plus months? And by the way, if you want to pay earlier, you can. Or if you want to take longer, you can. This is just their example, okay? So check it out. 40 days later, they make a $2,000 payment. And then they had a really big Q4. They were making bigger payments because they were swimming in cash. So there's a $10,000 payment in December, $5,000 11 days earlier, and then $10,000 January 8th, 2021. So you can see where in about 4 months, they paid down $30,000. And by the way, if they wanted to pay us down completely, they have plenty of cash in the bank where they could do that, but they're smart. They're reinvesting our capital and our profits to grow even more this year. So now our total capital is $32,000, and they may choose to pay it off slowly. But again, they're building a much bigger business where it's not going to be a problem for them to pay us off in the future. So that's the actual repayment. But remember, AccrueMe lets you grow now and pay later. So to wrap up and give you a high-level executive summary, so you can determine whether it is the right solution for you and your Amazon business. Gary and Joy were able to increase their profits 349% in 2019, 154% in 2020. That was their profit that they took home. They brought home and generated $181,000 in total profit in the business. During our relationship, even though AccrueMe represented 50% of the capital, they kept almost 80% and $144,000 of the profit. We made 20% and $37,000. So they did really well, and we did well too, because with AccrueMe, we only make money when you make money. So if you do great, we're going to do great. And that's exactly what happened with Gary and Joy. And that's how we set it up. They made no payments for 18 months. So they were able to keep reinvesting instead of draining their cash flow, paying a bank, credit card, or loan every day and incurring interest daily. And with AccrueMe, you'll always keep the lion's share of the profit, even though we represent 50% of the capital. You see, when you work with AccrueMe, we've set this up to be a no-brainer and a win-win for you. In fact, the only way that you can't do well with AccrueMe is if you take our growth capital and don't put it to work to start generating a profit and an ROI. So now I want to ask you a question. would you be able to double your profit with double the capital? I mean, if you're like most successful Amazon sellers, you're thinking, this is amazing. I know if I had double the money, I could get from 25,000 to 50,000 or scale from 100,000 to 200,000. I can invest that in multiple products, or I can ensure that I never run out of product. Now, if you're sitting and watching and you don't know where you would invest the money, if you don't know what you can invest in to generate an immediate ROI or return, this is probably not the right solution for you. And by the way, Gary and Joy are well on their way to becoming a seven-figure seller. And I wanted to share a note we received. It reads, we started in a business relationship with AccrueMe, and it has been fantastic. But it has become a friendship and so much more than just business. As we've experienced some huge challenges in our family, AccrueMe has worked with us through those to help us keep our business going and growing. Thank you to the whole AccrueMe team. I got to tell you, I never get tired of receiving notes like that. 100 to 200%. I'm curious, are you ready to experience growth like Gary and Joy? I'm sure by now, many of you want to get started. You can start growing your profit today with 3 easy steps. First, go ahead and visit app.accrueme.com. There's a short funding estimate that you can complete in less than 3 minutes, which will give you an indication of how much growth capital AccrueMe will invest in your business. We're currently seeking to invest from $10,000 to $1 million in each Amazon business. So go to the app.accrueme.com now. There's no risk, there's no obligation, there's no credit check, and it's free. Once we receive your completed app, we will be happy to set up a call with our team and share how we can help you. And if you decide we're the right fit, we can provide a proposal. It's a 4-page document, tells you exactly how much we can invest, exactly the profit share for your business. Our process is designed to produce happy, successful, and more profitable sellers just like Gary and Joy. As I promised, here's all my contact information. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me or my team, and we'll reach out and be happy to help. One thing is guaranteed. There's never been a better time to scale an Amazon business than today. The time to make your dreams a reality is now. And as an Amazon seller powered by AccrueMe, you can build your dream in a fraction of the time. So go to app.accrueme.com now to get started. Thank you for attending and keep on growing.
This content is brought to you by AccrueMe, the business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers. If you are a profitable Amazon seller looking for capital to grow your profits, click the link around this video or visit accrueme.com for a no-risk funding estimate in less than 3 minutes.